Shout out to the Viking Age, man, for coming out with an article that stated 3 trades that would make the Minnesota Vikings champions, okay? This is the thing, man. Like, there's a couple players out there that we obviously can trade for. That's realistic, okay? I'm talking money-wise. I'm talking bringing some spice to the defense because we know if there's any side of the football that the Minnesota Vikings need to get the help at, it's the defensive side. And to me, it's particularly the cornerbacks, okay? This is the thing, man. Y'all know how I feel. I like the cornerbacks. I like the young guys. But when me and Yogi were going live, I think I figured it out, man. I think I know what's wrong with me, right? I'm the type of guy that I like sure things. I don't like to hope and I don't like to wonder if a player can play. Because you want to know, I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to win now. I'm tired of waiting. We've been waiting long enough as Vikings fans. It's time to get us some sure players. That's why I get upset when we trade players like Dalvin Cook and we talk about getting rid of, Danielle Hunter and stuff like that. It's like, well, who's going to replace them? All right. So who's going to come in and fill the void of that productivity? Who's going to do it? You know what I mean? And that's a question I ask right now. Now, the cornerbacks is a little different because we have been struggling to find a cornerback too. It seems like we always have that one guy that can hold it down. Like, for example, Patrick Peterson was that guy for a couple years, holding it down on one side, but the other side is always a void, right? So this season, we have guys that we're excited about. Caleb Evans. We have Andrew Booth Jr. But again, these are all question marks. We don't know if they can play football at a high level. What do we want? We want some guys that can play at a high level, okay? We need 2 cornerbacks that can go in and week out and ball out. So here's a guy that the Vikings age, and shout out to Cole Middleton in particular because he's the one who wrote this article. And he has a guy, they named 3 players, a couple different positions, but this one in particular is the one I pointed out because I like this idea, and that's Carlton Davis from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, first thing you got to do when you're going for a trade, locate a team, right? Locate a team that's going through kind of a rebuild process in a way. Locate a team that's going through a process where they might be saying, hey, we're going to get rid of a lot of players. We need to clean the shelves and kind of start over and see where we go, right? Okay, Tampa Bay, that's the first thing. We located Tampa Bay. Carlton Davis has a Super Bowl. I won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, so he has that. He knows that feeling. Those are things I look for. Not only that, Carlton Davis is a feisty type cornerback, man, aggressive. He's in the age range that Kwesi's looking at. He's 26 years old. Second round pick coming out of Auburn from Minnesota, from Miami. You know what I mean? So he has that Florida grit in him. That Florida grit that them football players, that they breed down there in those football players. You know what I'm saying? So everything's making sense. I'm just going to read a quick paragraph from what Cole Middleton said. He said, for the Vikings, the one player they should call the Bucks about is cornerback Carlton Davis. Davis, when healthy, is a feisty corner who is a scheme versatile, where he can thrive in man-to-man or zone. There is no question he would instantly become Minnesota CB1 if a deal was made. Making a trade for Davis would allow the Vikings to keep Byron Murphy Jr. on the inside where he excels, and this would give Brian Flores a corner he can trust to stay on an island week by week. All right. And that makes the most sense, man. Shout out Cole for writing that, man. Hey, listen, you took the words out of my mouth. It makes the most sense. And I 100% agree with you. We need another guy that can go in there and that can be on the island week to week. And what better than somebody like Carlton Davis? Why? He doesn't really want to be on the Bucks. The Bucks ain't going nowhere. There's a lot of players that would love to come to a franchise that is on the upwards trajectory, like the Minnesota Vikings. We're about to win, and it's time to win now. So going into a season with guys like Juwan Williams and, a Caleb Evans and Andrew Booth Jr., it's not to discredit these guys' playing ability. It's just the fact that, do we really have time to wait? Okay, listen, when your number's called and you go in there and you just turn up, you do it. Hey, it is what it is. You earn yourself a spot. But for now, when we're just going off of paper, we need to get players that have a track record of playing good football. Carlton Davis would be a perfect candidate. All right, he would be a perfect candidate to me, man. I like this, man. Shout out Vikings Age. I love when I see articles like this, when they talk about certain players and they say, hey, the Vikings should bring them in, and it's realistic. All right, we're not saying Jalen Ramsey or something, although we all did videos about it, but this is more of a realistic move that can be made by the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, last season he had 53 tackles, a forced fumble, and an interception, and 12 passes defended. All right, so it's not a crazy year, but he's 6'1", regular standard cornerback size. He's aggressive though, and I think Brian Flores would love to have a tool like this to use for his defense. Like Cole said, put on the island week to week. Y'all let me know how y'all feel, man. Would y'all want to go after Carlton Davis? Is he's the type of guy you would add to the Minnesota Vikings? It's a yes for me. It's a yes for me, bruh. Like, I'm all the way in on this, and I would be 100% happy with a trade like this because you don't have to trade the world. This is something that can be done simply, easily with a phone call, and it's not going to break the bank, but yet you add a true player to your team that brings tons of value to get you over that hump. Let me know how you feel down in the comments, man. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Holla at your boy.
Yeah. Smooth summer, who running? I hear them talking, but they ain't gon' do nothing. Celebration, I might have a toast with you. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling great, I'm terrific. We ain't taking no losses, we winning. Undefeated, check the percentage.